welcome to What the Hex, your source for Warhammer Underworlds in under 30 years old. I'm your host, Davy, and with me I have a very special guest. He is the man who's not afraid to bring a gun to a bazooka fight. I don't know what it works. That's my son, Emmett. How are you, Emmett?
I'm doing good.
All right. Thanks for coming on the show with us. So we're going to talk to you about what it's like being a kid going to events, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for context, we are recording on the 27th of August. This is, how many days before we leave for Nova?
I think it's 2?
Yep. Less than 48 hours before we hit the road for Nova. We're road tripping. Do you know how many hours we're going to drive?
I do not.
It is just less than 14 hours. But you've already done that longer than that twice this year so far. So, I think you're ready for it. Bigger question is whether our co-riders are ready for it. Phil and Skylar are riding with us. They might not be tough enough to hang. We'll see. So, got any advice for them on that trip?
Not really.
Okay. So we don't have any news about Underworlds. We don't know what's coming up next. What do you think's coming up next?
I don't know, maybe a new warband?
Hopefully a new warband, right? We should get 2 more for Wintermaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do our usual segments, but as you know, our main topic for today is what it's like to be a kid in Underworlds. We're going to do our community segments. This is where we do community shout-outs. Is our usual segment. This is where we talk about, you actually don't listen to the podcast, which is fine. You and I actually listen to other podcasts, right? Can you remember what podcast we usually listen to?
Oh, Cult of the Clock Tower.
Okay. Well, I think we'll circle back around to that because that sounds super appropriate for a 10-year-old. But this is a part of the show where we recommend certain aspects or certain community resources. Is there anything that you find really useful to you for playing Warhammer Underworlds out in the community?
I think Underworlds DB is a good site for building decks.
Yeah.
It's pretty useful.
Yeah. You and I have built a couple decks on there.
Yeah.
Actually, you and I have built a couple. I built like 100. I've run out of room to save decks, so we actually had to start an account for you, I think, so we could save some of your decks.
I have like 3 of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. My recommendation is it's been a really long time since we've heard anything about news for Warhammer Underworlds. And what that means is that you and I and everybody doesn't know what's coming up. And one of the very first resources I ever listened to was Agents of Sigmar. And that's Robin and Pete, who do a YouTube channel about a bunch of things, but especially about Underworlds. And they have an episode that is all about what might be coming next. And they lay out like 4 or 5 different things. It's only about it's less than 15 minutes long. So it's a super quick listen. And I don't have anything better to recommend right now because who knows what's coming up, right? So kind of exciting. But let's get into the meat of this, right? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to talk about this episode. I am going to ask you a bunch of questions because you are the guest and you have not been on an episode before. And our topic is kids playing Underworlds because I'm not the only dad who has a kid who's playing Underworlds. And you're not the only kid who has a dad or a mom who's playing Underworlds. So we're going to talk about it. Anytime we have a guest on, we usually ask them, how did you get started playing Underworlds? Do you remember how did you get started playing Underworlds? Like what got you interested in Underworlds in the first place?
I think it was mainly you playing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked cool, so I just wanted to see what it was like.
Yeah. What did you think looked cool? Was it like the models or the boards or the cards, or was there any one thing, or was it like more than one thing?
I think it was like the models.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really good answer because I think the models are kind of amazing. So Yeah, Emmett is pointing to some of the unpainted models I have laid out in front of us. Some are partially painted, and some I just painted in time for this tournament coming up. About how long would you say you've been playing Underworlds?
I think I've been playing for about a year.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Do you remember what your first game of Underworlds was?
It was Farstriders versus Sepulchral Guard.
Mm-hmm. Which one were you playing?
I was playing Sepulchral Guard.
Yeah.
And we used the starter set.
Yeah, that was the starter set, and it had like it had the list, right? That was like here, like it basically was move the models, and this will tell you how they play, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And did we do the whole thing that way?
We only did the first round.
And then we finished the game? Or we stopped the game there or no?
We did the first round, and then after that, we just played the round like without the list.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I remember because we got through that and I was like, hey, we could just keep going step by step. And you're like, no, I think I'm ready. Which is pretty cool. Yep. So do you remember how that game ended?
I remember that I won.
Yeah, you beat me in our first one. All right. Well, before you did that, you and we play a lot of board games in our family, and a lot of our friends play board games. What other board games do you like, or do you play a lot?
I often play, like, Unmatched,
So Unmatched Battle of Legends?
Yeah.
Okay.
Santorini.
Mm-hmm.
And, Blood on the Clock Tower is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also...
Those are awesome ones. They're very different. You and I we played some Unmatched today. They had a cooperative version. And I think Unmatched is, of the games that you and I play, like that might be the one that's closest to Underworlds. If you had to explain Unmatched to somebody who had never heard of it or never played it before, how would you explain it?
I would explain it. It's basically it's a sort of a card game and a board game.
Yeah. Just like Underworlds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Underworlds, you move your fighters around different spaces, and try to take down your opponent.
Yeah.
And you can attack them by playing cards from your hand or maneuver to get up close to them.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the cool things about Unmatched is that it's all kinds of different characters. So some of them are like, I know this word doesn't mean a lot to you, but like out of the public domain. Or into the public domain, I guess. So which means that like they're not under copyright. So anybody can use them. And so that's why you can have like something like Sinbad versus Sherlock Holmes or something like that. So you have all these crazy matchups, and there's some that are licensed. So there's like the Jurassic Park franchise, and then like Marvel characters. And I think they're coming out with like The Witcher, which I don't really know much about. But what if you had one? Can you narrow it down? Because there's like 50 characters in that. Can you narrow it down to one single character that is your favorite?
I think my favorite is probably Bruce Lee.
Have you ever seen a Bruce Lee movie?
No, I haven't, but I've seen like some short videos.
Yeah. What is the iconic thing you remember about Bruce Lee?
The 1-inch punch.
I remember yelling at your sister to stop 1-inch punching you in the back of the car when we were on a family vacation. So
specifically 1-inch punching me in the face.
Good clarification. Yeah, I like that. I think my favorite character, I love a lot of them, but I often go with the Invisible Man, who is in the Cobble and Fog set. So that's a really great set. It's basically like a character, sometimes with sidekicks. So I think the biggest group is like Robin Hood has himself and 4. Yeah. So it's like basically kind of like 5 people.
Wait. Actually, there's Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl, yeah, that's right. Squirrel Girl can be Squirrel Girl plus 8 squirrels. So Squirrel Girl can kind of do the Zarbegs Gets thing and have 9 people on the board. That is, you got that in a deck, and you just think like the deck is already pre-built every time. So it's a game that you can like pick up and play super quick. I think I can probably teach it in the space of like 5 minutes. So super recommend it there. out of those games, what's the first board game you can ever remember playing?
I think the first game I played was probably Santorini.
Santorini. What would you tell people about Santorini?
It's like moving around spaces with your fighters.
Yeah.
This time on squares instead of hexagons.
Mm-hmm. So a downgrade.
Yeah. And it's like you are a Greek god, basically, and it'll give you special abilities. So like you might be able to move an extra space or build two
in a
times.
Different spot. Yeah. So what I like to think about it, like, tic-tac-toe is a really methodical game. Very simple, very basic. This is like if you had 3-dimensional tic-tac-toe, even though it's not like 3 in a row, but it's like this very methodical thing, but then it was asymmetrical where each person had a different power. And I love it. Like we can play, like we almost always play like 3 or 4 games every time we put it out. It's super interesting, like to just pick different matchups. Like it's, I think that's another thing because the asymmetrical nature of it. Do you know what I mean when I say asymmetrical?
Yeah.
Like both sides are not the same?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think because of the asymmetrical nature of it, you get to like play a ton of different combinations and, sometimes they're lopsided, but they're just interesting to figure out. So.
Yeah. And also like, it's cool to find, new combinations that like work really well together or are like evenly matched.
Yeah.
Too.
I agree. One of our favorite things to do is have one person pick 2 characters and the other person pick one they want to be, so that the person picking the 2 like tries to pick an interesting matchup that's not like lopsided, but they're often surprising. Like you think one thing might be lopsided and it's not. But we talked a bunch about other war games, or the board games I should say. Let's talk about Underworlds. What do you like about Warhammer Underworlds?
I like that there's a bunch of different varieties of like fighters and decks. Like there's so many different things you can do.
Yeah.
With it.
I believe that because, I believe that's what you like, because one of your favorite things, like I know you'll come to me and be like, hey, I just thought of this. Like, what if you had this fighter did this thing, or this fighter played this card, or all that sort of thing? Like, in this game or other games, like one of your favorite things, and from my perspective, is like coming up with like crazy combinations. Yeah. All right. Well, you talked about what a wide variety of things there are. If you had to pick a favorite warband, what would your favorite warband be? Or, like, once you pick that, what is your favorite warband and warband with a deck?
I think for my favorite warband, it might be, it's hard to pick. I like Skittershanks and Starblood Stalkers.
Mm-hmm. Making Phil proud, yeah.
But I think for my favorite warband with a deck is Skittershanks with Illusory Might.
Yeah.
Which I used to play, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah. Illusory Might has rotated out, but yeah, I think you really like that. And I think what you can tell me if I'm wrong. I think what you really liked is like you had a ton of illusions in there, so it was basically like almost any card you drew at the start, you were able to play. Like it was very rare that you were like, I can't play anything in this, because you had either gambits or you had illusions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question from Skylar. Skylar wants to know, why did you correctly pick your first warband after your introductory game? What made you correctly pick your first warband as being Skaith's Wild Hunt?
I just thought, like, they looked cool, and I don't know.
Yeah.
They just looked cool. Like, the models seemed cool. They were fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's an awesome recommendation for anybody. Like, I think most of the warbands out there are, like, fairly decent. Like, we're in a really good spot as far as the meta. And so, like, if you worry too much about, like, picking, I really want a warband that's good or whatever, like, that's gonna, it's gonna put more pressure on it than it needs to be. Like, just pick something you think looks cool you know. That's kind of served me well. I pick warbands that I think are cool, and you do just fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are coming to Nova. Have you ever played a tournament before?
I've only played like 2 of them, so I've played a few.
Yeah. The most recent was our Q3, which our Madtown Throwdown Q3. You played in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did too. I on camera got beat up by that mean old Pavend, but that's okay. I had a really, really close game against Wellner. Have you played Wellner before?
Yes, I have.
If you had to tell people one thing about Wellner, what would you tell them?
He plays Exiled Dead.
He's crazy for them zombies, yo. All right. Phil wants to know, because you are going to ride out with us to the Nova Open. What are you most excited for about going to, like, this is going to be the biggest thing you've gone to, is you haven't ever gone to LVO or Nova or Adepticon. So this is a big thing. You're coming with us. We're going all the way out to Washington, D.C., big drive. What are you most excited for about a big event like this?
I think I'm excited about, like, seeing how many war bands there are and, like, how many, like, things people brought, what different, like, ideas and combinations there are.
Yeah. Was there anything about, in, like, the most recent tournaments that you've played that, like in Q3, that you're like, oh, I never played against that, or I never played against that pairing before?
I saw there was Hexbane's Hunters with masks.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was Danielle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's cool about that is, like, masks, you can cheat them out when you're Hexbane's Hunters, right? Price of victory. You know? So you lose somebody and you're like, okay, I'll put a mask out for free. Yeah. I got to play her too. That was super fun. She's a really good opponent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool.
Also, another thing about that tournament was I got to play a totally different game.
A totally different game? What do you mean?
I got to play rock, paper, scissors.
That's right. Am I remembering this right? You guys you were not close enough to, like, closing out your game, and so you had to determine one of your game results with rock, paper, scissors?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you win?
Yeah.
Excellent. What'd you pick?
Well, I think it was, like, multiple.
There were a lot of ties?
There were some ties. It was also a 2 out of 3, so.
Oh, okay. That's the best way to do it.
I picked multiple.
Yep. Not enough time for game 3, but enough time for best out of 3 rock, paper, scissors.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. What are you bringing to Nova?
I am bringing Thundrix with Fearsome Fortress.
This is where I pretend to be surprised. Whoa. No, of course, I already know it. You and I kind of worked on this a little bit. What else did you try pairing Thundrix with?
I tried Rhymeworm's Bite, but it was a little harder to score the objectives, so I couldn't get enough, like, Inspires and Glory very quickly.
Yeah. I will say some of our test games, like, I tried some Molag builds, and you actually won those games, even though, like, we get to the end of the game and you have, like, scored 2 objectives or something like that, but you would have managed to kill enough people. So kind of weird, but that's what we landed on. Tell me why Thundrix, though, because you decided on Thundrix quite a bit ago, right?
Yeah. I chose Thundrix because I was interested in, like, the dwarves, and also, like with almost all of the other warbins I picked, they look cool.
Yeah. You just like the look of them. Yeah. I didn't actually have them painted at that time, so you were just looking at the unpainted models, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that I have, like, a Age of Sigmar army of Caradron Overlords?
I do. We went to a tournament with them once.
Yeah. We went to, actually, Mortal Realms Con was what it was. And so we used them in, like, Warcry, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty fun. So you landed on Fearsome Fortress. You already told me, like, that was better than Rhymeworm's Bite because you scored, like, you would get more of your objectives, so you get more promotions. Is there anything else you want to say about why Fearsome Fortress was the pairing that you went with?
Also, like, It's good because normally I just like if I have skittershanks or something, I'm just like all attacking.
Yeah.
But with like something like Fearsome Fortress or Path of Glory, I'm more oriented towards objectives, and then
Path of Glory, you mean Path of Prophecy?
Yeah.
What'd you run Path of Prophecy with?
I went Path of Prophecy with Starblood Stalkers.
Shout out to Phil. All right. Well, that makes sense. So you felt like that pairing kind of like helped force you into coaching more focus on objectives rather than just like attacking.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't covered this before, but how old are you?
I'm 10.
You're 10 years old. All right. So you probably started playing this when you were 9. Was the first time you ever rolled any dice with Underworlds with, crits on them?
Yeah.
Yeah. You and I actually played a lot of complicated games. We often have done cooperative games. Like I think we did I think maybe the most complicated, we did an Imperial Assault game where you and I were like against the app or something like that. But
yeah. Or Mind Management.
Oh, Mind Management's amazing game. Amazing comic book series for anyone. When you're a little bit older, I'll have you read that too. Well, you have pointed out that you are 10 years old. Do you have any advice that you would give to somebody who is 10 years old and interested in playing the game, or somebody who is a parent that has a kid who is 10 years old and that kid is interested in playing the game?
I don't really have any... I don't have much advice to give, but I'll just say, like, it's pretty fun. That, like, it's fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If somebody is worried about it being, like, too complicated of a game, like, whether they're 10 years old or whether they're 40 years old, like, what would you say to that?
I would say, like, if you keep playing a warband, like, over and over again, you can, like, get used to playing that, get used to all the special abilities, and then you'll remember to do them when you need to.
Yeah. What's the thing you think you forget the most right now in your warband?
In this warband?
Yeah, in your Thundrix.
I don't know. Maybe it's promotion?
I think you've gotten pretty good at promotion right now. Like, what we try to remember is, like, anytime you score an objective, like, if you score a surge, what are the 3 things you need to remember?
Glory, promote, draw, new one.
Yeah. And an end phase?
End phase, glory, promote.
Yeah. There you go. I think probably one of the things you are still forgetting the most is that after Thundrick activates, that he can do his...
Oh, his like, I just call it his stomp. His
stomp, yeah, I like that. That's where everything around him is hazards.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good one. Sometimes it's really crucial if somebody is range 1. I
think one thing I used to forget a lot with Starblood Stalkers was skittish, because it's after the opponent's power step, so it's harder to remember then. Yeah,
but a pretty important one, because sometimes it would get you enough reactions to get there, right?
Yeah.
For specifically for instinctive tactics, they had a surge. It was 2 reactions, you'd get it, but it could be a pretty big deal. You talked about with Nova, one of the things you're most excited was like some cool combinations. Anything else you're really hoping to achieve at the Nova Open?
I want to have fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, just see cool pairings, like I said.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there anything you're worried about or concerned about?
I mean, I probably might not, like, finish all my games because I just learned that you have to do them in 90 minutes.
Yeah. 90 minutes is fast. I think you'll get your best of 2. I think your best of 2 will be done because you and I worked a lot and we got your games down to like 40 to 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. If you're playing against somebody who really knows what they're doing, then that helps. But I think if it goes to 3 games, it's going to be challenging to get that last one in. But here's a little secret for you. I think everybody's going to be challenged to get that last one in. You know Brian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian has a hard time getting a best of 3 in 90 minutes, as do we all. So it's just going to be interesting to see that difference. All right. You picked Thundrix to bring to Noah. I am telling you that, like, when you're choosing to pick him, I was like, that's totally fine. But I warned you. I was like, hey, you might lose a lot of games because they're not one of the most powerful. And you were pretty comfortable with Skittershank's Claw Pack, including Skittershanks plus Hungering Parasite. Like, you played, I think you beat Brian with that pairing.
Yeah.
Was he running, do you remember what he's running? Dread Pageant? Is that what he's doing?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
Whatever.
really remember.
You just crushed him. Yeah. But you decided, instead of going for what was maybe more powerful, you decided to go with Thundrix. And is there a reason that, despite like the warnings that they might not be super powerful, that you went with them anyway?
I think that it's like they're fun to play with. I like I said, why I chose them. Like, I like dwarves. They look cool, especially now that they're painted.
Yeah.
They look pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you paint them?
Nope.
No. I painted them. You and I are both sporting warbands that I painted in the course of 24 hours, where I started and then 24 hours later they were basically done. That is my humble brag / excuse. If you come up to us and you think they are awesome, then think they're even more awesome because I painted them quick. And if you think they're lame, then just remember I painted them quick. It's challenging, right? Because like you and I were practicing a lot, so if I was practicing for a different tournament or something like that and you weren't going to be there, then I would just like I'm going to play a whole bunch of on this different thing or whatever. But it means that you've played a bunch against me, right?
Yeah.
So you're very comfortable against
Thrice Full Discord.
with
Rhymeworm's Bite.
how do you feel about that pairing?
I think, like, I remember one time we, like, swapped decks and played each other's, and it was, like, a pretty good, deck. I think I might have won that game.
You did?
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah. I thought I was going to really teach you a lesson, like, here's how you can really, like, do well with Thundrix. And I had a really great opening hand, but you still, like, crushed me.
Yeah.
Not crushed me. It was close, but it was pretty fun. You have told me after this, because we've played a ton of games with you doing Thundrix and Fearsome Fortress. You told me after this, you want to try a new warband.
Yeah.
You do. Okay. What warband do you want to try?
I was thinking about trying Black Powder's Buccaneers.
Yeah, really power choice, huh?
Just because I like the animals, like the monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, Mike Prime, hear us now. Someone's coming for your crown of best Black Powder. That's you actually don't know him. It's Sleeks Bowl. He's a super nice guy. I met him out in Las Vegas. He does online. All right. I got a couple more listener questions here. All right. You ready for this?
Yeah.
This is from Fish Mode. He is of the Spent Glory podcast, or not. He's of the Spent Glory website, and I would make a joke about us hating that website, but we've called it out too many times. So I'm gonna read these to you, and you have no preparation for this. Here's the first question: is your dad cool, or do you still have to be in bed on time?
I do still have a bedtime.
All right. Fish wants to know, what's your goal for the event? Do you want to win a game? Do you want to get double-digit glory? Do you want to win a match?
I think it's actually just to have fun playing.
Okay.
Like all my games, and like maybe also win a game.
Yeah. When you get done with a game, what is it? Because you talked about having fun, and I have a thought about what it is that what makes for a fun game for you. And I'm not even talking about a match, but what makes for a fun game for you. I'll tell you what I'm thinking after you tell me what you're thinking. What makes for a fun game for you?
For me, it's like either remembering to do all my stuff, getting it done really fast, or getting like a cool combo out.
And that's what I remember is like cool combo, because like whenever you're really excited about a game, it's when you come and tell me like a really cool card combo or really cool like dice plus card that you managed to pull off. And so that is what I remember is like you. Like it doesn't, you'd be like, yeah, I lost like 22-7, but I pulled off this really cool combo. Yeah. All right. Fish also wants to know, what is your favorite Underworlds character and why? We're not talking about warbands, but what's your single warbands character?
It might be Autopodle from the Starblood Stalkers.
Ooh, all right. Team Phil, this guy. Autopodle, what is it you like about him?
I like chameleons.
Actually, you do like chameleons. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And like the dart thing is cool because like it's not often that you see an attack that's only on crits.
Yeah, that's true. And if you can lay a move token on somebody, that's brutal. Yeah. And like it's good if you have supports up there because then you can do like crits and supports. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Here is another question this is the last one from Fish. What? I'm curious if you know what this question means. Which Underworlds character do you think has the most Riz? I knew you didn't know. So Fish is trying to be super cool and hip. Riz means charisma. Like which character do you think is like, the people like the most, I think?
I don't know. Maybe Clacktrock, because he's muscly.
Oh, man, you are just pandering to Phil right now. You and Phil are going to get along great in the back of the car, because, no, actually, Phil's going to have to drive half the ride. He's the only person going with us that knows how to drive stick. So, yep. All right. Well, that is actually, can you believe it or not, bringing us to the end of the episode. All right, hang on a sec. We got a new arrival. Emmett's big sister has something to say. All right, well, we're coming to the episode. We are going to sign off here. We thank you for your time. If you want to talk to us about this episode, the best place is the Discord. We have a link to that in our show notes. You can also email us at whatthehexcast@gmail.com. This episode is actually going out during Nova, so if somehow you are hearing this and you didn't know we're already going to be there, Emmett, Skylar, Phil, myself, Zach, and Wellner, all from our meta. So 6 of us from our meta, from the Madison area, are going to be there. We would love to say hey to you. We would love to bring you into one of our favorite games. We are bringing Blood on the Clock Tower. We're going to do some of that at night, maybe multiple nights. We're going to get that played. So we're going to do that. But in the meantime, we have a usual segment, which is the flavor text quiz. Emmett, are you ready for the flavor text quiz?
Yeah.
Okay. Shall I ask you something?
Can I ask something?
Yeah, all right. Go for it.
Okay. Here it is. This one's from Duke Crackmarrow.
Oh. Is there a translation on that?
Would you like it?
Yeah, like I don't know Ghoul well enough, so.
Okay. Zounds, what a laughably poor effort. My dead squire could deliver a worthier strike.
I'm going to have to guess that. So I think you've pulled this directly out of my deck. I think it's got to be, is it tough enough?
Yep.
All right. Cool. Good choice. We have to enter that in. Welcome to the flavor text quiz history there, buddy. One of the last things we do is a recommended listening. Sometimes we'll do it themed, but you and I just got to go to a concert together. We went to, how many concerts have you been to with me?
I think it's been 4.
Mm-hmm. And the last one was with who?
It was with Willie Carlisle.
All right. What if we picked a Willie Carlisle song to be the recommended listening for this one?
Well, I would say maybe Take Me to Critterland.
Critterland?
Critterland.
Yeah, great song. That's the title track off the Critterland album. I really had fun listening to that song with you at the concert.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Hey, for What the Hex, I've been Davy.
And I've been Emmett.
We are going to talk to you about what it's like to be a kid playing Warhammer Underworlds and going to events, right? All right. If you nod, they can't see it.
Hi! It's Hazel, Emmett's older sister, and I just wanted to tell you that you should pass on the power step. And yeah.
Anything else you want to say to the crowd at large?
Emmett's nickname is Gut.
It is Gut. Do you want to explain that?
So it turned from Emmett into Matt into Mutt, and then into Gut.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Gutler Gut.
Yeah, I call him Gutler Gut.
We tried to take it a step further and go with intestino, because that was Italian for gut.
Yeah.
And you were into Italian at the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's French for gut?
All right. Thanks for your time, Hazel.
Sure thing.
Very valuable contribution.
Yep, sure was.